get some music. All right, welcome to Let Freedom Ring, one of our live editions on StreamYard. Got to say, I love this service. Definitely can do some different stuff with it, so it's pretty exciting. Having back, I don't even know how many times he's done the show at this point.
I think it's 4.
It's only 4.
I think so.
Wow,
I think I've done 2 in studio, 1 with Nagel, and then this.
No, you did 3 in studio, I want to say. No, maybe you're right. Maybe it is 4.
No, you're right. I think maybe it's 5.
Well, we'll have to check the books on that.
5 times.
Yeah, but here's a special kind of edition of Let Freedom Ring. We're just kind of going to be talking. We'll do some of these shows. Obviously, this is not Let Freedom Ring is not a wrestling show, but we do talk wrestling on the show. And there's just some big news just coming out of the wrestling world. We have had. Can you hear me? Oh, we could have. Okay, may have technical difficulty. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm hardwired in, so there shouldn't be any issues.
Is it me?
I don't know. Could be because if you're using a phone, that could be possibly it.
Let's figure this. Oh, 1 second. Hold on.
Technical difficulties. The internet is making things a little bit difficult here. Oh, do we have him back?
That better? Or worse?
Can you hear me? Oh boy.
That better?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me? Yeah,
I can hear. Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, cool. All right, so just want to talk a little bit. It was WrestleMania. We've talked about WrestleMania. We talked about the fallout, but what seems to come after every WrestleMania is Vince McMahon seems to just start letting people go. So we're gonna get into that. But Bobby, I want to ask you one question. I just posted on Facebook.
Yep.
If you could have one player in any sport have a perfect career, no injuries ever, who would you pick?
Tom Brady.
Tom, that's a boring answer, Bob. Tom Brady had one big injury. I'm talking.
Yeah, but if Tom Brady doesn't have that injury, they go and win the Super Bowl in 2008.
You're not even going to pick Kevin Garnett, where the Celtics could have possibly been. They could have won the 2009 champion. You're going to pick Tom Brady, who had one injury, really in his whole career.
I don't care about the Celtics. Couldn't care less. I'll root for them because they're from Boston. But if the Celtics win or lose, I could care less.
Wow, that is that's a shocking statement. Tim Beaulieu.
If they win, I will celebrate. If they lose, I will move on with my life.
Yeah, well, the big 3 could have. I wish there was more championships that would have happened there.
Yeah.
So, Tim Beaulieu says, "What a hat!" Bobby is rocking the Boston Marathon Red Sox hat. I believe you got the jersey as well.
I do have the jersey in the locker room over here.
Very exciting stuff. As we both competed in. I've competed in 5 Tough Rucks. I think you've done 3 or 4.
I've done 3. I was supposed to do the 4th one, but I was at a wedding.
Yes, that's correct. So definitely has ties to the Boston Marathon. We have some. I like that it doesn't. They give you the marathon medal. I like now that it actually on the I don't know what you call it, whatever you put it over. It says Tough Ruck because honestly, as tough as the Tough Ruck is, the Boston Marathon is tougher.
Yeah, depends on who you are, I guess. Really, I met one of the people who run the Boston Marathon actually at May Kelly's up in North Conway, and she's like, "You guys are crazy for doing the Tough Ruck." I was like, "It's just about embracing the suck, man, and you just keep going."
Yeah, but I don't know. I look at I guess if you're competitive in the marathon, they seem like some of the best athletes you could possibly be. Yeah. So
those competitive people, though, those competitive guys, the Boston Marathon's a dime a dozen of them. They do all those marathons.
Yeah. Well, I wish we were going to have the marathon this week. Obviously, not happening. I believe in October we'll have the Boston Marathon.
So it falls on we call it Columbus Day, but I believe they call it Indigenous People Day in Massachusetts.
Okay.
So there's some controversy around that as well. So
always something in the Corona world. So I don't know. Is this going to change? Like, it takes a lot to prepare for the Boston Marathon. Are they going to be able to have it in April next year?
You hope.
That's
the hope. The idea is to hopefully have 70 to 80% of the population with the vaccine by next year. But Pfizer then came out and said that we're probably going to need a booster shot. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting mine shortly. But yeah, let's get into a little bit though. Did you enjoy WrestleMania this year?
I enjoyed night 2. I thought night 1 was kind of a throwaway, except for the main event, which is how I felt it was going into it.
But you really didn't even watch on night 1.
I rewatched it afterwards and everything. But no, it was good. It was nice to have fans back. The Jake Paul getting stunner was awesome. The main event was okay. I thought the main event was meh. But I'm a Roman Reigns guy, so he won, so I'm awesome about that. So.
Yeah, well, if you look at it, night 1 and 2 were both main evented by SmackDown. Roman, Daniel Bryan, and Edge. Night 2, Bianca and Sasha on night 1. So something to be said there about SmackDown.
But both of them were the Royal Rumble winners, so they really did it right. If you're gonna have 2 Royal Rumbles, the person who wins the Royal Rumble should always main event, regardless of which brand they take.
Yeah, I agree with that. Years prior, that has not been. That used to be the thing.
It should always be that, and that's one of those things too. I hate about AEW. AEW does things where you win a tournament or you win some speculation match or stipulation match, whatever, and then they end up having the payoff in some random Wednesday night, and it's usually the person who won the opportunity always loses. So
yeah,
final.
I think they do a lot of those battle royals because they have so many people and they just want to get them on the show.
Yeah.
But anyways, what we wanted to talk about, there was, I believe, 10 big releases coming out of WWE yesterday. Possibly could be more. As we got, looks like, by the way, on SmackDown night, looks like Jey Uso is going to wrestle Cesaro. So it looks like Cesaro's getting moved up the card. We'll have to see. But yeah, so I didn't know those were coming because if you remember, it was about a year ago that
it was a year ago to the day.
Is that like the day? Because I remember like the big one that I remember was 2005 was the big release day because I remember the Dudleys getting released.
Yep.
I don't remember as many like big ones like the last 2 years in a while.
No, but the way the world's working recently has been. It feels like that there's more increases to have to cut people, but they're also bringing in a lot new talent, especially the last 2 years. So you have to cut somewhere, and you're not going to cut at the level of like, if me or you work for WWE, you're going to cut the people who are getting high paychecks and aren't really doing much.
Yeah. And as you can see at the corner of the screen, we got Samoa Joe. We just wanted to really upset about that. But we're not going to talk about Samoa Joe just yet. But you are right. They are bringing large groups to the Performance Center.
Yep.
So, I mean, you got to make some room somewhere. But, all right. Well, out of the we'll get started kind of on this. First person that I want to talk about, Mojo Rawley, was the last person released yesterday. Any thoughts on where the career goes for Mojo Rawley?
Probably leaves wrestling. I don't think he's gonna stay there. His one is different than the others because the group all happened within like an hour. It seems like Mojo Rawley came a lot later, so it feels like maybe Mojo was like, "Can I get out of this? Can I just leave?" And they're like, "Oh, we'll let you go."
Yeah, I mean, I can't even remember the last time he wrestled.
He hasn't wrestled since September.
Okay.
On TV.
Okay. So, and that's all there is now is TV. So, unless I don't know, they have main event. I've never watched that.
I don't even think he was on that either.
So, yeah, I don't disagree. I could see him doing appearances, signings, but I don't see like his stock being very high for AEW, or I could see Impact maybe wanted to bring back the Hype Bros or something like that.
Yeah,
maybe Zack Ryder there.
Maybe if he wants to do wrestling, he's good enough. He's talented enough that I don't think wrestling's going to restrict him. So yeah, you could see him do something else, maybe like a Netflix special or some movie or something like that.
He's definitely an entertaining guy. I mean, there's something. I mean, he's friends with Gronk too. So I mean, I think he'll be in the entertainment industry in some capacity.
Definitely.
There was one guy though that I'm blanking. The other guy I want to talk about, and I forget his name. There's one. Let me look up. But in the meantime,
Wesley or something like that.
was he a NXT guy?
He was part of that like trio on NXT where that guy said the rant about gun rights or something like that.
He was one of the Forgotten Sons.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he got brought into like Corbin's thing, and they didn't really have anything for him.
Yeah, I'm sure that someone will scoop him up in some capacity. I believe he's pretty young.
Yeah.
You know, obviously he was just one that I was like, I actually don't know who that is.
Yes.
So, but it seems like a lot of the people I didn't know last year that were released, AEW scooped up quite a few of them.
Yep.
So,
but that means they can't do it this year. So I don't foresee many of these people going to AEW.
Well, that's going to bring us to Kalisto. I believe Kalisto is still in his early 30s.
Yep.
We hadn't seen him on TV in a little while, or the Lucha Bros, or
he was on the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, and he had like the falling out with his buddies. It's like he just was on TV, and then they scrapped him.
Yeah. So what do you see happen with Kalisto?
I could see him maybe ending up in like New Japan, something like that. Get away from I don't think he ends up in AEW or Impact. I think like he's got to branch out.
Well, some people were mentioning Mexico going to AAA or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he probably could end up there, but it just seems so stereotypical for me to say AAA.
Yeah. Well, I thought that too when people were saying that. I would love to see him in AEW because I think he could revolutionize his career there. But you're right; they're not going to sign everybody that got released.
No, I could see New Japan would be a great fit for him. That fast-paced style is not huge over there, but they do like those kind of guys, especially in the mid cards.
Yeah, and I will be honest, I don't know much about Kalisto's career before WWE.
Right.
I don't know much about where he came from before that. But yeah, no, I don't disagree. I think someone should sign him somewhere, but AEW might not be exactly where he goes.
And I think he's too big for Ring of Honor at this point, but
that could be I don't know where,
I think that's the interesting part of all this is how does Ring of Honor fit into this talent pool that they didn't really tap into last year? Now are they going to tap into this talent pool, especially with Joe?
Yeah, you got to wonder. I mean, if Joe is now a commentator, because we're not really sure. I mean, we want to talk about. I want to save him actually. I want to save him for the end. Tucker.
Not surprising.
What were they doing with him? He turns on Otis, right? Gets Otis to lose the Money in the Bank.
Yep.
And what was the point of that?
And then he switched brands. They were on opposite shows. There was no payoff.
Absolutely none. It was like, we'll just do this, and that gets Miz the briefcase, and maybe we should never had Otis win in the first place.
Yeah. You still there? Dan, you still there? This is struggling. You still there?
Yeah.
I'm not hearing you at all right now. You there?
Technical difficulty.
Is that me? I'm on. I don't think it's my Wi-Fi because I'm not on the Wi-Fi anymore.
On the Wi-Fi.
No, I'm on just streaming I'm using my data, using the data.
Can you? Oh man.
This is Strugs McGee over here. There you go. You're back.
Oh yeah? Can you hear me?
Yep, you came back.
Wow, this is annoying. The internet I'm hardwired into this thing.
Yeah, and I'm using that 5G. So
yeah. So I don't know. All right, so let me see here. So we talked about Kalisto, Chelsea Green. Where do you see her?
Impact. She's going back to Impact.
Well, she got injured, right?
She did. She came back, but even when she was not injured, she wasn't getting over even the NXT world. Like, I know she's great. Everyone says she's a good wrestler, but just, I don't know. I mean, she'll end up back in Impact and go back to that same gimmick. But the funny part about that gimmick is that being the hot mess, her fiance is now in Impact. So it'd be kind of cool to see her as the hot mess with her fiance there.
Yeah, this could be a chance for them to kind of work together.
Yeah.
You know, because it looks, you know, he was with WWE all that time. She was not. Then she goes to NXT and he gets released.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think she's already selling the T-shirts for Impact, or the not for Impact, but the gimmick that she was using.
Yeah, the hot mess
while she was there. Yeah. So, Bo Dallas, Beaulieu hasn't done much in like pretty much like years.
Yep.
What do we think happens with Bo Dallas?
Well, he's got his own side business at this point in real estate, so I don't know if he cares about wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a thing too. I mean, he has not, I don't know when the last time he ever even had a match.
It's been 2 years, but What Culture was reporting that he had like a test match or like a training match right before WrestleMania, and then 2 weeks later it was released. So maybe he had bad ring rest and like, hey man, this is not working out. Like, you're not doing anything anymore.
Yeah, I mean, his brother had so much luck, or not luck. I guess, you know, Bray is just a lot more talent, but I thought Bo was great, and he just cooled off. Because I mean, you know,
yeah, no, he was super entertaining as NXT run as the champion, and then it's like, okay, you have this stuff with Alexa Bliss going, and this is getting to extreme booking or whatever, but you have Alexa Bliss who's kind of turned on the Fiend or whatnot, and at some point that's gonna end, and there's got to be a way out, and it could have been like the Fiend's brother, his physical actual brother, was the person behind Alexa Bliss, and then you could have turned them into like the same type of character. I mean, they're blood related, and Bo Dallas can go. He can wrestle.
Yeah, but I don't think they ever want to acknowledge the Rotunda bloodline. I mean, I don't know if the IRS, I don't know if Mike Rotunda ever wrestled. If anybody knows the answer to this is watching, did IRS ever wrestle under his actual name? I don't believe he did. In WWF, I mean.
Not WWF. I think he did in WCW at one point. I think when he was like Wall Street or whatever, and then he became his physical name.
I think he went under Mike Rotunda though before the IRS thing, and then he got thrown a gimmick. Like Vince has been very gimmicky with that family and not really talking about their actual like the wrestling family behind it.
Yeah,
I believe that I could be wrong because I believe like Bray and Bo are they third generation. What, didn't Mike Rotunda's dad wrestle too?
I think so. I mean, but Bo's still not even 30 yet, so like he still has a lot to go, but he hasn't wrestled in years. So
yeah, I don't see AEW signing him. You're right. Yeah. He could walk away. Could be great for Ring of Honor.
Yeah. He could be like just like DiBiase's son, who just like kind of was like, I'm done with this.
Yeah, but I believe DiBiase asked for that really. And maybe Bo did too, but he was just like, I'm done. I'm going to go be in the business world.
Yep.
Just like Sean Stasiak became a chiropractor.
Yeah. I forgot about that guy.
Yeah, meat. Yeah, he. I only bring him up because I've been watching a lot of Brian Zane lately, and reviewing old school WCW pay-per-views. And wow, was 2000 a trip? We could talk about that a little bit, but let's get through these releases a little bit. Billy Kay seemed to be progressing. They split up the Iconics. We don't know why.
Nope.
Where could you see her going?
If anything, I see, and I don't think they need to be together, but they are an actual tag team. There's only one place to go that has women's tag team wrestling, and that's Impact. They seem like a perfect fit for Impact. I know people are saying AEW or whatnot, but AEW's not at the point where they're ready for a women's tag division. They can barely handle the women's division that they have right now, and their only real true like women's tag team is gone because Brandy's pregnant. So Impact makes the most sense to me. I think they take some time away and go home. You know, I don't know how easy it is for visas and things like that because I don't believe either one of them are citizens of the United States.
Well, Peyton Royce is married to Sean Spears.
Oh, then she's 100% going to end up somewhere, right? So she is a citizen then, right?
She's.
You could get married. You could get married and not have your citizenship.
I believe she's. I think once you marry an American citizen, though, then you can. You're not going to get the boot. Yeah, I mean, we have a friend who had to marry somebody.
Yes, it takes time. So
he just didn't renew. Yeah, we won't get into that here nor there, but I'm pretty sure that yeah, she's married to an American, so I don't see her leaving. But that doesn't just mean she's going to go to AEW.
No, Impact seems like the best fit for them.
Everybody's in Florida. I mean, does Impact film? They film in Florida, right?
Yeah, they're all in Florida.
Everything's in Florida right now until this, things change a little bit. So, Peyton Royce. Then, what'd you think of that release?
It doesn't make any sense. I don't get it at all. You gave her this push right before WrestleMania. She has an awesome promo on Raw Talk, and then
one of the best that she ever did.
Yes, and there's we got nothing for you.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense. It's like this is like feels very Enzo and Kaz. You split them for no reason.
Yeah, no, they should never split them, right? So I see you in that point. But Enzo and Cass, when they both got released, made total sense to me.
Well, their behavior led to their release. I thought Enzo was actually – people hate this because a lot of people want the Cruiserweight division to be something. I liked Enzo as the Cruiserweight champion.
Right.
I thought he did well with that. But I also think that their act was very hot, and they killed it very quick.
Yeah, they never won the tag belts in either Raw, SmackDown, or on NXT.
They literally got this huge pop the night after WrestleMania. Going into the next WrestleMania, maybe they would have got the tag straps if the Hardys didn't show up, but they did. But they were still a pretty hot act. And then it was like, well, we'll split them.
In all fairness, the Hardys, that was a cool return, but they basically were like, okay, let's bring back this old tag team and kill off a tag team that should have won the belts at that moment. I remember that moment as being cool, but Matt Hardy goes on Twitter and freaks out because it's not in the top 10 biggest pops in WrestleMania history. It's like, well, you stole a spot from someone younger than you, jerk.
I mean, that's not to say that we know for sure that Enzo and Kaz were going to get the belts, but it felt like everything leading to that was. Yeah. And again, they were such a hot act, and they cooled them off and didn't even give them more than a year of a run, or about just a year on the main roster. So
I really think they saw main event potential in Cass, and it just didn't work out. He got hurt really quickly.
And he just was boring without Enzo.
True. But I mean, he got hurt like Kevin Nash style really quickly once he went in on his own. When he had that whole match with Enzo.
Yeah, that was disappointing. It was very disappointing. Mickie James. Haven't seen her in a long time. She got released.
She hadn't been on since the Royal Rumble. So, I mean, she's 41. You have a really young, up-and-coming women's division. What do you do with the Mickie James at this point?
No, there was no reason to really. She had said that she felt like her age was getting her a little bit more discriminated against. I think she could go do someplace, though, and go somewhere to finish out her career.
Oh, NWA. There's NWA is the most likelihood. She's got a couple of people over there, including her husband. So she's fine. She'll be fine. It's just that what WWE didn't have anything for it. It's like when Ric Flair was there in '93, and they're like, "Hey, you've been at the top for all these years. You're 41. We're going a different direction. Like you could be here and you'll get a paycheck, but are you going to be satisfied?" I feel like Mickie James was there getting the paycheck, but is she really satisfied? Like it's hard to say all this too, because we're talking about people who are legitimately been fired. So
yeah,
you don't ever want that to happen to someone, but this could be better for her if she wants to pursue the rest of her career in wrestling.
Yeah. You think there's any kind of severance package?
Probably. There's probably something.
There's got to be something, right?
They definitely get paid for the next 90 days. They can't have a no compete clause if they're not getting paid.
Okay. Oh, then that makes sense. Yeah. I see her going to NWA, but I think now what we're seeing with these other companies is they're totally comfortable. Like Thunder Rose wrestles in AEW. She also wrestles on NWA. The other thing with Mickie James, I mean, Impact obviously she's been there before.
Yep.
I mean, they just had Jazz on TV for a while. She just retired.
Yeah.
So I mean, that could be a great place for her to finish out her career.
Yeah, agreed.
You know?
I think she'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, she's still a big name. I mean, I was surprised she ever came. I was surprised when they brought her back. I remember she like got involved with Alexa Bliss.
Yeah,
and I thought that was good. You know,
but that was before Becky got hot.
Yeah, it was way before.
Yeah.
All right, that kind of gets us to what everybody's kind of talking about, what everybody's been kind of upset about. Samoa Joe's release. What the heck? What's your take on that?
It's an unfortunate situation, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know why WWE goes, yeah, this is a budget cut reason. I mean, they had record profits last year, so I don't know if that's really a valid excuse to say something. And we are in the middle of a global pandemic, so that's kind of a BS thing to say. The only thing I think is that, and it stinks for Pat McAfee because Pat McAfee is the one who comes in and replaces him the day after it happens, but he was getting paid as if he was a performing wrestler, and he was no longer a performing wrestler.
Yeah.
So and this is all speculation. We have no idea what happened. The only thing I can think of is that they went to renegotiate. They went back to the table, and Joe's like, "Why would I take less money?"
Yeah, and he was killing it on commentary. Like, he
saved WrestleMania Night 1.
He did.
He made it trend because he was wearing that ridiculous poncho.
Yeah, that was funny. I really enjoyed his work on commentary. I've always been a fan of his. Like, I remember being so excited when they signed him. And I think why this one hurts the most is because when Joe went to WWE, I was like, okay, this is it. This is where he's going to finish his career. And him and AJ Styles, I'd wanted to see them in WWE for years, you know? Yep. So when they finally were both there, it was like awesome. And I remember they signed James Storm, and I was all excited about that too. And then he left. Bobby Roode came over. A lot of these guys that like made TNA what it was all kind of ended up, with WWE, and I was hoping to see them. Eric Young, I was sad to see him get released too, like last year, because a lot of these guys, you never thought they were going to get there.
Yeah. But I mean, Joe's done fine. Joe's been in WWE since 2016. He's been making almost $1 million a year.
I think 2015. He's
been making almost $1 million a year plus whatever the bonuses are for whatever pay-per-views and things like that. And it stinks because because at the same time you brought in Pat McAfee the next day, so everyone's always going to associate this firing to bringing in Pat McAfee as a commentator, and I don't think that's fair to Pat.
Because right now I'm not a fan of Pat McAfee. I do not like what went down with Samoa Joe. I do think though Samoa Joe and Mickie James, I will say, are two people on this list that are going to be in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Yeah, definitely.
I definitely think Joe will be there. I definitely think Mickie James, obviously. But I think Joe, even if you just went off his WWE career, it was pretty damn good for the short amount of time that he was there.
Yeah. I do want to say one thing, though. I really don't want Samoa Joe to end up in AEW. I really don't want that to happen.
No, why not?
He'll show up there, and they'll be like, oh, you're an older, established wrestler, so why don't we give you another freaking stable to be built around the Joe family or something like that, and he'll become like Taz or Sting or one of these other guys that have like just these – the stables are out of control in AEW, and I don't want him to go over there and end up in the same situation.
Yeah, but don't you feel like AEW's got to be intentionally doing this? This has to be like, they got to be aware of how many factions they have.
I think they do, and I think they're just like, you know what? We need more factions and more tag teams. Let's just take two people who are awesome individually and say, you know what? Screw that. They're a tag team now.
Well, New Japan does this type of faction thing too.
Can't stand that in New Japan either.
So I don't know. I will say I love AEW, but I have to say, it is a little overwhelming, and it almost feels like they have too many people already.
They do. They have far too many people, but they're about to get another show. on
Yeah, on TV or because
an hour on TV. Is what Tony Khan said beginning of April.
Well, I'll be honest with you. Like sometimes if I get to sit down and watch AEW Dark, I'll try to. But how many? They got like 15 matches on that show.
Yeah,
Like it's a lot. They're
they have
creating a lot of
talent.
content. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know who they're going to take. I will say this though. I'd love to see Andrade is going to have to end up somewhere, and I can say that Andrade to me would have been. I know he wasn't released yet. He would have been a better, bigger surprise than Christian Cage showing up at Revolution.
The AEW screwed the pooch on that because Christian Cage is a big get for them, but they hyped it up so that it became not a big get for them. Then everyone was like, Christian Cage is the obvious person. So who are the not obvious people? And they built up this whole stir around it. And then it's like, oh, here comes Christian Cage. Oops.
Yeah, and you shouldn't have had Paul White come out and say it's not who you think it's going to be because we all had him on our list.
All of us. I think Eric Bischoff said this on 83 Weeks, that because they released Paul White on like a tweet or whatnot,
that would have been bigger.
It made the network upset though, because they already gave away the surprise on Twitter. And then they're like, we need to hype this up on TNT. So what we'll do is we'll hype it up and get the ad revenue generated for the pay-per-view.
Yes.
And they screwed it up. They also needed a gap between getting the tape ready for the Sting match and getting the barbed wire stuff for the failed explosion.
Yeah.
So like it was kind of a nice spot in the card, but it was the wrong person. They
should have just been like, we signed somebody, we'll reveal who it is, but when you get us going, it's not who you think. When it's like, it's not who we think, okay, then it's going to be someone that we don't think.
So I thought Floyd Mayweather. I thought Floyd was going to come into AEW and do something because he was associated Big Show.
Well, my mind started going, okay, someone got released from WWE or someone's contract is up that we're not aware of. Then I started saying, wait. And
but all
this was
public
like
knowledge. All those contracts are public knowledge. So you would know if they're on the market.
Yeah, but then it starts becoming a pipe dream where you're like, maybe Tony Khan is willing to pay Brock Lesnar stupid money to show up for pay-per-views. He could do it.
Yeah. I just don't think Brock would ever do it.
I think at some point Brock's going to have to work again. He's not even 50 years old. I mean, did he make enough money in his life to survive forever?
He's pretty wealthy.
Yeah. I'm sure he's invested in other things too, but
he's also back in Canada. He lives in Canada, so I don't know if he wants to be coming down to the United States. He's definitely not going to want to be traveling.
No, he might not, but I would say that if I'm AEW and I can make him an offer, I make him an offer, not for a full-time, just kind of like WWE. He's the big fight feel. You bring in Brock Lesnar for an AEW pay-per-view, that is going to be huge money for them.
Yeah.
And I don't care who he faces. I would order it,
Yeah. No, I hear you.
So, but yeah, no. Very sad about a lot of these releases. Do you see anything going on with the direction of WWE moving forward? Now we usually get into a WrestleMania lag after WrestleMania. Feels like we've been in a lag going into WrestleMania. Where do you see things going?
I think it's been a lag since the global pandemic started. So I think right now it's like, they'll put out their content. It will be interesting to see how viewership stays throughout the next few months, even for AEW, because as the light stays up higher, right? As we get having the sun up until almost 8:00 at night now, no one's going to be watching these shows. So it'll be interesting to see how they get through the next wave of pay-per-views and like the next into SummerSlam and whatnot. But I'm not hopeful. Not at all. I think the booking is terrible and the writing is lazy.
Yeah, I feel like is that because there's no how come it is like that? I mean, you see Monday, so now it looks like Retribution is the two, Dijak, who I really want to see him have a great career.
Yep.
And one of the other guys looks like they've joined MVP. That was the end of Raw.
Yeah.
They attacked Drew McIntyre.
Well, I think what we'll do is that feels like a storyline where they hire them. They're basically mercenaries at this point, right?
Yeah.
They lost their person who was in charge of them. If if they replace Benjamin and Alexander in the Hurt Business, or are brought in that fashion, make a faction around that, I'll be pissed, because they had a great faction and they destroyed it. Which, as a guy who doesn't like factions, I was like, why would you break them up?
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand that. And MVP kind of tweets like, well, you guys weren't buying our T-shirts. It's like, okay, that's how this is all dictated. I mean, how's your segments rated? Were they rated high? I don't know.
They were higher. Those segments were higher, but at the same time, it's like, what are you talking about not buying your shirts? Dude, we're not attending events. The highest revenue for your shirt turnover would be at a live event. Who the heck is going on WWE when they're sending me these dollar purchase shirts every freaking day in my email? I can't buy a shirt every other day. Sorry about that, man.
Yeah, they do overwhelm you with the WWE shop.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. I don't need an email every day about buy this and you can buy this one. But I've gone on there before and I couldn't get the deal.
Right.
So, but yeah. Well, hopefully all these people find a place in home, and very unfortunate. And but I guess this is kind of how things are going to go every year.
Maybe. You never know. I mean, it might level off, but as long as they bring in these talent pools where they're bringing in 15 to 20 people every year to the NXT class, that means people need to leave NXT and go up to the main roster, Raw or SmackDown, which means you need to clear some of the roster space up top. That's going to happen every year. Just don't do it to the point where it's 2 weeks after WrestleMania. Like, push it out a little bit, because I don't want to get hyped up for WrestleMania knowing that in 2 weeks I might be losing a person that I've just got hyped up for going into WrestleMania.
Yeah, that is a problem. But anyways, Bobby, I appreciate you coming on and doing this. We'll be doing more of these shows, just side episodes of Let Freedom Ring. But this has been a lot of news going on with this, so we just wanted to address it. But next week we'll be back in studio and continue to Let Freedom Ring.
Have a good one.